Hello everyone, I'm Laura, and in today's video, I will be sharing how I transformed my unhealthy habit into habits that help me create better health. Fair warning, this will be different than your average how to change your habits video. And those who watch my content, they already know what vibe I'm on, because I will be providing you with key components that will help you change the way you think and provide you with a clear understanding on how you can approach this process in order for you to create long-term and healthy success. If you're new here, welcome. And to all my returning subbies, I love you guys so much and appreciate all the love, the support, and the comments, the likes, the shares. It means so much to me. Without further ado, let's dive into today's video. First, I think it's important to note that according to experts from Psychology Today, habits form when new behaviors become automatic and are enacted with minimum conscious awareness. This is because the behavioral patterns that we repeat most often are literally etched into our neural pathways. The brain doesn't distinguish between good and bad habits, making it extremely difficult for the brain to unlearn them in the first place. Enjoyable behaviors can prompt your brain to release a chemical named dopamine. So if you do something over and over and dopamine is there when you are doing it, it strengthens the habit even more. And when you're not doing those things, dopamine creates the craving to do it again. This explains why so many crave unhealthy foods, even if the unhealthy food no longer makes them feel good when they eat it. So in a sense, parts of our brains are working against us when we try to overcome the bad habits. These routines can become hardwired within our brains, and the brain's reward centers keep us craving those things that we try so hard to resist. I, like many others, became so frustrated with trying to figure out what it was going to take in order for me to create healthier habits. I understood that making better choices when it came to my nutrition and making it a priority to move more were key components to creating healthier habits. I was aware of that. I knew that on average, it took about 60 to 90 days in order for you to create a new habit. And I did all of that and then some, but for some reason, it just wouldn't stick. Then, upon my endeavors to figure out what the hell my issue was, I stumbled across why it was so difficult and for someone like me to create the healthier habits. I soon realized, but if you ask me, it wasn't soon enough, that focusing on mimicking exactly what mainstream health and wellness, weight loss, fitness professionals or content creators wasn't the best approach for me. For one, it wasn't ever really clear on the steps to take and why I should take them. It wasn't helping me deal with the deeper reasons as to why I was unable to create the healthier habits. And out of all the content that I consumed, and in some way, I hate to say this, but I just have to be transparent and honest. It's just how I feel, and come for me if you want. But I feel like how to be more healthier or to make better decisions or the health and wellness content was being gatekept. By no means am I blaming them for my inability to create the healthier habits. I understand that it isn't everybody's responsibility to make us feel confident that things are possible. But as content creators, I believe that it's our responsibility to do our best to inspire as many as possible to be the healthiest version of themselves, no matter where they are in their journey. By educating them as to why they may be struggling, then it finally hit me. Just maybe it was time for me to step outside of that mainstream box and take a break from the cycle and begin my own journey as to understanding the why instead of the how. This took time, but once I did, it changed my life completely. And I hope it'll do the same for you. Identifying my personal needs was my first step. We all have our wants, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I challenge you to sit those immediate wants to the side, just real quick, and focus on your needs right now in this moment. And what I mean by that is, what are the essentials, meaning what is absolutely necessary in order for you to create the healthier habit? For example, what are the essentials for you to thrive and survive through this process? of creating the healthier habit. In other words, what is needed in order for you to win? Is it essential for you to remain motivated, inspired, in order for you to stay focused on your process? Or is it essential for you to have as little distractions as possible in order for you to succeed? Identifying the deeper reason is probably the most important part of this process, because it allows you to focus less on the overall and immediate want and tend to the roots that are in the way of you attaining what you want. Envision this. Your journey is a cup that you desire to be filled. You don't realize that there are holes that need to be mended. These holes are preventing you from filling your cup. And what those holes are your needs not being met. This has a tendency to cause frustration, confusion, and depletion, which 9 times out of 10 leads for individuals to give up completely. So take some time out to sit with yourself and identify your needs so you can start experiencing what you want. So once I figured out my needs, I began to set necessary and much needed boundaries. This meant that I not only needed to set boundaries with myself, but also with others, so that I could begin to experience my new story. This was probably the most difficult part, because yet again, this meant that I needed to step outside of my comfort zone. For someone like myself, who is not accustomed to prioritizing herself and her needs, and has spent so much time prioritizing how others felt, overcompensating and feeling like I needed to overcompensate to stand out or to win or to accomplish and things like that. I was always prioritizing everyone else. So this was uncomfortable. It was a trigger for me to do so. It caused anxiety sometimes, it caused fear, it caused doubt. So it wasn't easy. It is a normal reaction when you are deciding to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. That's why a lot of individuals don't. You spend years and even your whole life making the connections between your ability to succeed with overcompensation or prioritizing others before yourself. This usually leads us to create habits that are unhealthy and unsustainable and unfulfilling. I'm here to tell you, if you feel disappointed, upset, and even angry, that is your sign that some big and in most cases, extremely uncomfortable changes need to happen. Please understand that your feelings are valid. We run from our emotions. We are made to feel bad that we have emotions or feel some type of way or whatever the case may be. But in most cases, your emotions are signals, and they're signaling to you that something isn't right. They're trying to lead you, not derail you. So I encourage you to lean into them and trust where they are guiding you. So for example, if you feel some type of emotion that is triggered when someone is taking you away from your path and what you're wanting, and you're creating these healthy habits, say it's going to the gym, or say it's, you have to meal prep at a certain time, or whatever the case may be, a boundary needs to be set. That's your sign that a boundary needs to be set. Listen to your emotions. Listen to how you feel, okay? Don't get all wrapped up in it. Don't let them take over. Just be like, okay, what is being said right now? Because I'm very frustrated that this person is interfering in what I'm trying to create for myself. Or I have a lot of fear and anxiety about this, saying yes to this individual or saying no to this individual. Why is that? Because I have a plan. Because I want more. Because I know I need to be doing this, but I'm not. You get me? So lean into your emotions. Understand that they are signals, they are signs, they are guiding you. And if you take a moment before you respond and listen, you will be revealed on what's going on and what's happening. I'm only saying this because it's important. Okay, it's extremely important. We get frustrated that we can't or we're not being able to do something. But a lot of the times it's because we're not setting the boundaries for us to create the success that we're looking for. That's a lot of our problem. So please just set the boundaries, because they will allow you to prioritize your needs and will get you exactly where you want to be. So you can start by, informing others of your plan. This will at least give them an opportunity to get on board or decide not to. And if they choose not to, that is fine. You are on a journey and a path to create healthier habits for you. And the most important part is that you stay true to that boundary that you set, because people will test and try you, okay? They will test and try you. They will test and try you. For example, say you are like, okay, telling your coworkers, look, I'm on a health and wellness journey. I don't want any, I don't want to be offered any cakes and candies and things like that. And then Friday comes up and they have cakes and candies and pizza, okay? And they're the first ones to come, hey, you want some pizza? Hey, you want some cake? Hey, you want some? And they will continue to test and try you. Keep that boundary. Don't fall. Keep hold true to your boundary and let them know, hey, no, this is my journey that I'm on and this is serious to me. I don't even want to be offered that. So would you please not offer me that? Simple. You got to stand up for yourself. Set the boundary and follow through. Okay. And if the boundary needs to be set with you, then be honest with yourself and look at yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself. Look, I'm setting a boundary with you. I'm setting a boundary with you. We're not doing this anymore. We are not doing what we set forth for ourselves. We're just not doing it. Okay, so just be true and be honest with yourself about the situation and follow through. Even times that you might need to cut back on nights out with friends, and they might miss you, but they'll miss you even more if you're not here. Think about it. And a lot of people don't like to mention this, but I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes a boundary requires you to cut ties that are enabling you and or prevent you from creating the new habit. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Say you are dating an individual and this individual is not in alignment with you, your process and your goals. They are not listening to your boundaries that you have set. They are not supporting you in your process. They are not there to help you thrive, and you've had the conversation. I'm saying dating, if you're married, that's your business, okay? And even this is your business. If you want to keep dating that individual, that is fine. But how important is your health? Is the relationship more important than your health? That's up to you to decide, okay? Because I guarantee you there's someone else out there that will support you to the fullest. So if there's some ties that need to be cut, that are toxic, that are preventing you from creating a healthy habit for yourself, cut it off. Let it go. Is it easy? Might not be. But it's not going to be easy either if you're pre-diabetic, if you're taking medications, if you're in and out of the hospital, if you are aches and pains and hurting all the time. That's not easy. So choose your battles. That's why communication is so important, okay? So you can't assume that everybody knows that you're on a journey, okay? You don't have to tell them all your business, but what's important to you? You tell them certain things because they're important, and then this process should be important. You don't have to give them all through the details of why you're struggling and everything like that, but let them know. They probably could be motivated by you and inspired by you. So after the boundaries were set, I got clear on what healthy habits met me right where I was at. I had to identify my strengths and my weaknesses at that time. I also knew the importance of feeling motivated and inspired during my process. This would offer what I would consider as being an immediate reward, those feelings. Habits with immediate rewards are easier to pick up and condition, whereas those with delayed rewards are often more difficult to commit and to maintain. Feeling motivated and inspired was my dopamine hit. It was my reward for taking action. I also knew that it was important for me to maintain those feelings as much as possible in order for me to be successful with being consistent, which is key when you're hardwiring a new habit. So I chose to start off with creating healthier habits that aligned and supported my strengths. I knew that sticking to a schedule was something that I was strong at. It made me feel accomplished and proud. So I made it a priority to schedule my meal prep time and my exercising time like it was a meeting that could not be missed. I knew that my strengths were determination and independence. So I began to view my journey as a learning process and a skill to master. I began to do more research, share my thoughts, be open to feedback, and create strategies that would help me succeed. That's not everybody's strengths, but I strongly suggest that you figure out what yours are and start doing things that align with those strengths. Doing this was a big game changer because it allowed me to change my perspective with creating healthier habits. It transformed the idea of it being an extremely unfulfilling, daunting task to something that I can actually enjoy and see myself doing for the long haul. Denying the urges, denying the urges to go back to the old habits. Key component. We all go through moments of temptation. What I realized through my process is that those moments of temptation only last if we make the choice to validate them. We choose to create the reasons as to why we should go back down a road that we know damn well isn't aligned with what we're wanting to experience for ourselves. I'm not saying that you deny every single urge because balance is important. What I'm saying is for you to choose and pick your battles wisely. Take some time to sit with it before making your move. If you know it's too soon to revisit a quote unquote unhealthy habit and that doing so, excuse my language, would create a shitstorm, then don't. When you have created that healthier habit, and you are being consistent and you're going good and everything's moving in the right direction, do not let it go. Hold on to it like your life depends on it, because it does. And the reason why I say this is because old habits can resurface, especially when we decide to partake in those old things that we used to, whether it be foods or drinks or whatever the case may be, situations that put us in, whatever it is. When we decide to partake in those things again, it could start creating and stepping back into that old habit. So it's your job to protect and nurture your process every chance that you get. Compare this to a smoker who decides to quit and they go out and knowing dang well that drinking is going to lead them into or intensify the urge of wanting to smoke. And they go out, have the drinks, and they are like, okay, let me just have one, then they have one. Then one turns to two, then two turns to three, then three turns to four. And then they're back in that cycle of having to go through quitting again. And I would have to say the second time or the third time you're having to recreate a new habit is, I feel like it might get a little bit more harder to do because there's so much attached to it. Like, why did I do? There's guilt attached to it because you're like, why did I go back? It makes it harder. Create a plan when it comes to incorporating balance within your process. So for example, I knew that ice cream I could eat it, the whole thing. Bad, not a good habit. It's not a healthy habit, okay? It's unhealthy. And so I decided to spend some time away from it, not having it in the house. I've told the story. But then I started reintroducing it back in, okay? I was like, okay, I think I'm ready, So what I did was, I'm not gonna get the gallon, I'm gonna get the smaller one, see how I do with it. And so I had that. No, sorry, I'll take that back. I was like, let me eat it out and not bring it in the house. I had steps. I was like, I'll eat it out, but I won't bring it in the house. So I ate it out and stuff like that. And then I noticed that I was like, okay, I'm not having those big old cravings like I need to go buy it or thinking about ice cream all the time. That it wasn't there. And then I decided to say, okay, well, let me get the small. I'm not going to get this big one. I'm going to get the small one. I'm going to have that one. Had that. And it was like the pint, half a pint or something like that. You guys know. And I would have that. And I was like, oh, I'm not eating the whole thing. And it's not calling my name. Okay. So I think I'm true. I think I'm good with this. Now I can have a gallon of ice cream and it can go weeks. Ice cream can be sometimes even longer than that in the freezer, as opposed to for the beginning. Oh, that wasn't happening. So you get what I'm saying? So give yourself some time. Okay. Give yourself some time and have a plan of what you're going to do, the steps that you're going to take to start implementing those things. Even with going out, I had to, have a plan for that. It was like, okay, I used to go out every weekend and then I withdrew with that for a little bit just so I can get my together. Okay. Wasn't like I'm not never going to go anything, but if it was around a lot of drinking, I was just like, okay, I need a moment. Okay. It's not forever. I just need a moment to get some health, get some new things going, some new energy flowing within me. So I'm able to be put in these situations and I don't feel like it's constantly, an issue for me. We like to, preach about balance and moderation and the importance of incorporating it. But I would be a lie if I told you that there weren't things or situations or places that I no longer put myself into, that I no longer do, or that I no longer am a part of, because I know how it could affect me. So yes, balance and moderation, but sometimes you got to make a swap. You got to make a healthier choice in order for you to be, successful with your process. Swap, ain't nothing wrong with swapping something out. Okay? Nothing wrong with that. You do what you need to do in order for you to create the healthier lifestyle that you're wanting to live. Some things that I had to give up for good. Yeah, there were. But for one, I'm healthier. And for two, there were so many better things that came in to replace those things. Clear signs in order for you to tell that it's not time for you to start incorporating things again into your life, into your lifestyle, is when you feel completely out of control when you're around it. So for example, when you get to a buffet, you can't just have one plate and you feel out of control and you'll eat everything. Don't go to the buffet. Wait. It's not time for you to go to buffets right now. Does that make sense? So make the choice to stop putting yourself in those situations for a while and then revisit it later on. Okay? Balance and moderation is important, yes, but we need to be able to discern what is for us and what is not good for us at that moment in time in order for us to create the healthier habits that we're looking for. And that's just straight up. I had to be okay with going back to the drawing board, you guys. Okay, I had to be okay with that. And patience is not my middle name, okay? So this was difficult. It was hard. You want to have a clear understanding what hasn't been working, but at the same time, you want to be honest with yourself. Did you give your all when you were trying that certain technique? Or were you just giving half-assness? Because if you didn't, you might want to consider giving it another try. I've done it. Then make your decision from there. There will always be moments that you do not believe in yourself when you are creating healthier habits. But this absolutely does not mean you give up. It simply means that those specific shoes didn't fit. And it is okay to try on another pair. Trust me, I get it. And I hear y'all now in the comments.
Lord, I have tried everything. I have given my all.
And I felt the same way. But when I sat with myself and I was totally transparent and honest, most times I hadn't. I just kept trying the same things wrapped in a new and more promising package. I hadn't truly stepped outside of my comfort zone when it came to me creating my healthier habits. I hadn't. I wasn't attempting to try any new approaches, really. I was doing the same approaches under different names, as I'm sure a lot of us have done. You have the same opportunity as everyone else to be the healthiest and happiest version of you. Keep showing up by identifying your doubts and fears, and have a plan to combat and change those fears and doubts into strength and confidence. My go-to are affirmations, as well as knowing with all of my heart that I have a choice, either to remain in a cycle or to get the hell out of it. To remain in this space that I'm in or to get the hell out of it. No one was coming to save me. And I realized that. So that required me to never allow a failed attempt to stop me. And in order for me to do that, I started to perceive it when I did fail or didn't accomplish something. I had to start seeing it as there's a different approach out there for me. This just wasn't the one. I'm telling you guys right now, the key to never quitting on you, your goals, your wishes, and your desires when it comes to your health and wellness journey or anything else in life is choosing to perceive things in a way that is beneficial for you. View things as working for you and not against you. Get in the habit of seeing things as an opportunity for you to grow, learn, experience. If you start deciding to see the benefit And everything that you experience, whether good or bad, watch the changes that you begin to experience within your process and your journey. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you feel is preventing you from changing your habits right now? What is blocking you from creating that success that you are looking for? And I'll meet you there with some personalized advice. Please remember that I do offer one-on-one coaching and a weekly support group where I go live and host every week. And we go over topics and discuss things like this and weight loss and how to create healthy weight loss. And it's a beautiful experience. It's a beautiful place. I love everyone. Shout out to everyone that's in that group. It's an awesome group. So all that information will be in the description if you're interested. If you're new here, don't forget to like and join the community by hitting that subscribe. And as always, I love you guys and I will see you